All right. So far, so good. Let's check on my signal to see if I'm coming through clearly. We're going to do some artwork this morning. What's up, guys? All right, so there's the channel. And, hey, there's me. And so there's the channel. Volume works. Sounds good. Let me drop that down so it doesn't get in our way. Let me grab the link for some social media posting really quick, and then we'll get to work here. So, check, and hitting the social media buttons here real quick, and we'll be done in a second. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And I'm creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. Right now, we're making an adventure for the Eberron campaign setting using 5e24 rules. It's called Crystals of Mabar. We are fighting necromancers, undead, and demons in the Karrnath, in the karrnwood of Karrnath on the continent of Graver. And let's see. Maybe that's all I have to say. So I'm going to fix. Oh yeah, that's right. Let's fix our monitors and just say, thank you, new subscribers. We really appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Here's a playlist of all 496 episodes of us making all the maps, assets, tokens, illustrations for this adventure that we're creating. 500 subscribers. Thanks a lot, guys. If you follow me on Patreon, then you can get the brush set. It's called an ABR file. It's basically all the different brushes that I use to paint here in Photoshop. Here's a bunch of other books I've created on DMsGuild already. And so if you think today is cool, I stream 9 times per week. I'm always doing something, so catch up with me if you want. Hey, Fernando, how you doing, my guy? So let's get this. This is the book cover that we made around episode 40. We actually did the lettering like around episode 200, maybe 250. I don't know. Anyway, get that out of the way. And okay, so is the current illustration. We are slowly but surely filling in the details. We got about an hour and a half, 2 hour block of time that we can spend continuing cycling through, moving forward. At this point, I'm just kind of word pie. So let me get the initial composition out of the way, so we can focus on where we're at right now. Going to take this background color here and put it across this mask that we created here. I don't want too much of a ridge. And we're just gonna get back to work. So let's let's drop the opacity on this a bit. Just a smidge. You can merge that now. There, it'll be like this. So we're working on another grassy knoll. The forest is full of them. What is that edge? Not a fan. There it is. There we go. Okay, cool. And we'll go up in here and we'll just erase some of that down. Let's grab our guitar pick. These icons seem particularly large. How do I reduce the size of these things? Import, append, brush tip, brush name, brush stroke. I want both of those. How do I reduce the size of these things? Arrange, point over brush, a new brush set, get more brushes. No, I want them smaller, that's all. I just want these things smaller. Why can't I press the smaller button? I don't want to futz around with this too much. But it is bothering me. This button does create a new preset. This does get rid of the brush names. It's not what we want. Don't need search bar. I do like recent brushes. Sorry about this, guys. I need to take a quick tangent. How to, let's see, Photoshop, brush, window, reduce size of brush images. To reduce the size of brush images in the Photoshop brush window, you can adjust the display settings within the brush setting panel. Right-click on the canvas to open the brush. Then click the gear icon on the top right. You can then adjust the slider at the bottom of the change the size of the brush previews, or select large thumbnail for larger previews. Huh. That's what that slider does. I didn't know. All right. Hey, we educated ourselves. Now we can see there's our guitar pick. All right, cool. So let's grab the pick and just drag it on through here just to smooth things out a bit. Thank you, AI. Such a useful tool. Yes, you are. I wonder if the machine identifies itself as a dog. They are, after all, the goodest of boys. So we're just gonna blend this into the canvas. I'm just using this is a unique brush that I built that has different layers up here. I'll show you. Actually, let me grab my tools window. Let me grab my fucking tools. Tool window. There we go. You can see how this brush looks on this black background here. We'll just make a large brush. There, you can see all these little veins and how it has these blurred edges on it. That's how this brush works. It's a stack. It's just like this shape here is different from this shape in here. These are stacked layers of opacity. Each of these gloss layers is like 10% opacity. So I have a bunch of them stacked up, so that like over here it's like 100% volume, but over here it's like 30%. So it pulls pixels at different strengths at different points on the brush. And when you drag them all in one direction, it'll take a different amount of pixel information along with it when you drag it, depending on the strength of the brush. And so you can create, like, you can easily smudge these. See how easily this thing smudges into each other? It has absolutely no mass on the processor at all. It just blends really smoothly. It's a really good brush. So I developed that for clouds specifically, but it's also really good at just working color into a canvas in general. So it's just a smudge blending brush. The guitar pick that I was using earlier is good for pushing pixels into like pushing pixels. This is good at blending them. So the two smudge brushes, even though they're both smudge, I'm using the smudge command as my brush. The actual brush tips treat smudge very different. The guitar pick pulls the pixels into places that I want them to go, almost like a squeegee. You're pushing the ink. The guitar pick's like a squeegee, while this cloud brush is more like a sponge. And I built them differently on purpose so that they would function differently like that. And they're included in the brush set that's on my Patreon. So if you just follow me on Patreon, you can go check out that article that I posted that is basically, here's my file. And it also included a previous art stream for the Yggdrasil painting that I did for the Reclamant RPG. That's on my Patreon as well. So you can check that out to see how I'm using these brushes in another Bob Ross type painting. That was a commissioned project. So you can see that if you're interested. And I kind of like this shape, but I want to pull it over a little bit more. That feels pretty good. Again, I'm just working the ink into the canvas. Hey, what's going on? I'm using Krita for painting, and I'm struggling choosing a brush. I always start with a round. I always just start with hard round. If I'm just sketching stuff, I do like a 6. Assuming I'm working at 300 DPI pixels on a like an 8-inch by page, whatever. I'll start with a hard round brush at like 3 or 5 pixels, somewhere around there, as like a really light line, just to do my sketching. And once I have the sketching in, then like you've seen, I do all the block coloring into the line art that I do, and then I work further into definition. Assuming I'm doing like a character illustration or a vehicle or some sort of material. Landscapes is the only genre of illustration that I use this wet on wet Bob Ross method, obviously, because it's Bob Ross method of doing environmental art. But it doesn't follow my environmental art doesn't follow the same art process that I use for practically everything else. So I would like someday to have some sort of unifying art style that I use the same type of techniques across all types of objects. But this organic environments lends itself particularly to the Bob Ross style of painting, because he developed it specifically for painting environments. That tracks. If you see him, like, his structures are very rudimentary. He doesn't do people. He doesn't do equipment or items or animals. It's just environment art that he does. Not even structures. So know your lane for your technique and lean into your strengths if you need something strong. But this is just part of. I'm really working this shit into the canvas. I hope it's I hope it's what I want it to be. Hey, you know what? Honestly, so far it looks pretty good. I like this. I just love how all this misty, like morning mist, how it's rolling in there, because there's a strong theme of fog and mist in this campaign. So having this misty sort of etheric feel to the ground is really on par for the adventure. So, but having multiple techniques makes you better. Yeah, it does. It does. It absolutely does. And I wouldn't. So it's to me, it's a matter of like, like the early, like maybe like 2010, like 2006 to 2020 streak of anime where you have the hand-drawn anime characters with the obviously computer-generated mecha in the background, and how they don't animate, they don't move the same way in animation, they don't have the same type of crispness, and it just feels like you're layering one style on top of another. That's what I don't like about different, like, when I say techniques, I'm really not saying it correctly. It's the outcome that, like, my creatures, vehicles, and character art doesn't have the same texture and feel as these environment paintings that I can do. It's a disconnect, in my opinion. It's a disconnect. So ideally, I would have a style that it has the same look to it across all types of things I'm illustrating. Like, it'd be like my style. I don't have so much of my style, really, kind of like, at all. It's just a hodgepodge of different types of styles I've developed to resolve different types of illustrations, which is the start of a style, but it's not actually its own style. So that's all. I'm art privilege crying. You can ignore me. Really, I'm really happy with how my art works. I'm just noticing if it, when you can basically illustrate anything, and when a challenge comes along, you always find a solution to it. It then starts to become an issue of how good of a solution is it, And that's not me bragging or anything. It's just I've done so much stuff over time that I know there's always a solution, and that you just basically have to follow your flow and you'll find it. I'm doing some erasing to blend this lower bit in, to break up this chunk a little bit. So I'm just doing some grittiness here as an overlay texture, and then we're going to put grass on top of it so it blends into the rest of the environment a little bit better. But this is just, I don't know, I was inspired to do this choppy terrain, so I put down a base color, right? It's really dark, And then I'm overlaying this textured tarmac, and now I'm erasing at it with a very low opacity eraser so that the texture of it sinks into the background, the base dark color underneath it. Because I can't smudge it because it'll just get rid of the texture. So a way to like smudge texture into a solid background is to use a very light eraser setting with the type of brush that you want to do texturing with. And so when you use this light scale eraser and blend it in like this, that effectively is like smudging or working that texture into the base color underneath it. So I like tap and drag a little bit. Since it's an eraser, it's just taking information away. So if I tap and drag, it starts to create little, it infers volume and shadow, like points of shadow. So like here is less faded than here, so like it curves away from the camera in that sense. It just works that grit into the environment here. So that I like how to say that, quote unquote, like softens how like this is harsh, and it kind of sticks out in comparison to a lot of stuff that's already on the page because of the lack of texture here. Like the lack of texture should be the fog, where there is no texture. But then you add in just a little bit of grit, and it grounds that block into the environment a little bit easier. So we'll grab we'll grab this grassy color that we have going on back here, and we will grab the same grassy texture. My grass blade spin, and then we'll just start layering some of this in here. Oh, look at that. See? Okay, so what I will say I have, as far as like a common a common style, I guess, if that's what we're talking about, is the lines and curves that I use in my pieces. Like, see how the curve line here of this knoll is just naturally aligning with the curve of this grass blade brush that I'm using. I have common angles that I have in my art, and I would say that's the start of a style, but it's not actually its own style unto itself, but it is indication of a style. So I'm, like I was saying, I can basically produce anything that I want. So now I'm at a point of how am I going to produce it to create different feel, which basically means now that I can do practically anything, creating a signature inside of those things that I create. So it's like, Mobius when you see Mobius art. Elmore art when you see it. Easily, Caldwell has just an obviously identifiable style when he's working in acrylics. And these artists are fucking amazing. So they're really just good at just fundamental art in the first place, but then they take that fundamental skills that they've developed and make a style out of it that just always feels like their work. Was it Matt Reynolds? From all the 3E D&D art, and then Pathfinder, his style is very obvious. Is that his name, Matt Reynolds? I think so. No, anyway, I think I'm dropping his name wrong. But yeah, he does all that really ornate character art for Pathfinder. Like, that's a very unique style that's obvious when you see it. So I'm taking this brush and I'm painting on these blades of grass in this curved fashion here, and then I erase at the bottom of it to blend in the base into the background color of the hill, so that the grass, you don't really see where the grass starts, or you can see where it ends with its shoots, but you don't really see where it starts embedded into the piece. And as I just move forward towards the camera, like you have these ridges and hills so that you can create silhouettes. You otherwise wouldn't have any silhouettes in this terrain because it's just rolling terrain. So you have these pockets of light, like from dark to light as you move down the page. Like it's dark here and then it fades into the light of the canvas. that creates another silhouette. So there's a silhouette here, there's a silhouette here, there's a silhouette up here. The mountains have a silhouette. It's just cascading silhouettes that create this rolling topography of dips and valleys. And since they're all in separate layers, I could increase the ground fog like that's spilling in, like between this grassy knoll here and this grassy knoll here, by just dropping fog in between those two layers. And we'll end up doing that. There's like a greenish, there's like a sickly greenish tinge to the fog that's coming from the manifest zone. And this illustration is the last map until reaching the manifest zone. So I can have like this dead pocket area here. We can have more trails of green that's like way off in the distance, and then have more wisps of it here in the foreground. And then once we get into the actual foreground trees, we can see like crystals and alien fungus growing on the trees themselves as the manifest zone continues to expand into the forest and infecting it with its botanical dread, I guess, for lack of a better word. So that'll be fun. Hold on tight. We'll get there. That's what we're working on right now. This is our next layer, and then we'll put more trees on into this knoll once we get it properly grounded. And then we'll do the next layer. We just keep layering things up on top of each other, right? Just keep moving. That feels pretty good. Let's blend that in just a little bit more. I like how that's sitting. And then I think what we're gonna do is let's grab this foliage scrub brush. I like bringing this guy in. Let's grab. Yeah, that's a sharper color. So we'll drop down the size of its scale. Let's do something like just tapping this in. We're just starting out. I'm doing a couple taps up here at the top of the landmass, or the biomass, and there. So I should probably get a I see you. Okay, I need to take this. Like that. Starts making this cool texture, and then we're using that same brush here to blend in the base of it. Like that a little bit. So I need a darker color as a base background. So let's go to here and here. Then we can come back in and grab some of this and here. Just having it spill down the hill. Lighten that up a smidge. Lighten that up a smidge just to blend this stuff into the environment. Let's take some more of this and fade that down. That. Add in some texture back in. And then if we take a lighter spot, this should be a bit, actually, let's go back to our reference image and find some wildflowers or something. Hunting for biodiversity. There we go. We're gonna just grab a bit of that. Now let's see, where do we apply this? Let's grab this brush here. Oh, where do we want to be? Back here. Yeah, it's too dense. I don't want it like that. Let's not use that brush. You know what? Let's just go back to the same brush, but change the size, and then we'll erase it down from there. So take this. Let's make a bigger brush, and then just a single tap. Just a single tap. No, I want to change the angle on that. Here. Tap, tap, tap. Let's see if we like this or not. And if not, we'll just get rid of the layer and just do something different. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. Just some random wildflower sort of shit. Just kind of sitting out there, you know? It's doing its own little thing. It doesn't care that there's undead in the forest. Why would nature care? Nature made undead. You can't really call undead unnatural if they exist in the world, right? They have their purpose, even if it's just to have evil, give evil some sort of avenue to express itself. That unto itself is a good. Giving evil the opportunity to express itself is an intrinsic good, ironically. See, I don't have to do any particular details of how these little buds are sitting on the branches and stuff. It's just your eye fakes it for you from the different density here. See, you can take the blades of grass that we have here and turn them into shoots that grow up into these bushes here. It's just, you're just letting your eye make up the details for you. Super fun. It's a great technique. Bob is just a fucking genius. All hail the Ross of Bobs. I'm just rotating the brush occasionally so that every time I change the angle and then erase a different portion of the brush, it looks like a completely different brush pattern. See that? There's just enough commonality on it that it looks like it belongs together because I'm using the same brush for all of it. Yeah, I'll let that sink in. Trim that up a little bit. It's just getting a little bit too aggressive. Yeah. Get back. Thank you. Thank you, Tommy Timer. There. Let's see if I can pull this off. Let's grab this dark color over here. Go back to our round brush. Drop down the size. That into the canvas a little bit more. Just gonna scratch some twigs and stuff into the piece, and then just use a light erasing tool just to push it back in and blend it a little bit into the mass. Here like that, then blend it, grounding it into the environment. Here like that. Such an unnecessary little detail, but it's there. We know it's there, so it adds to the overall volume in the composition. Your eye's going to catch even a hint of it. It's worth taking the moment to do it, because that just further reinforces, yeah, this is an environmental thing. Like this is a real landscape. When your eye picks up on little details, it can be like, okay, those details exist. This is a real space. I'm content. And then your eye just starts making assumptions for you. Nice. Nice little patch. I like it. So now that we have some bushes in place, bush, 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 bush. Bush, 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 bush. Good. Hillside. There we go. Okay, great. So now we can take that bush and let's go take a look at our composition again. We can call this mid left flower knoll flowers. Mid left flowers. There we go. First instance of like actual wildflowers. They don't have. It's kind of hinted at back here, just a smidge, but it's not really drawn forward. Here we're seeing it far more pronounced. Not much flowers. Not actually. This one back here could probably benefit from having some. Probably stand to have some wildflowers dropped in on it. One moment. Nothing there. Okay, cool. All right, I was just checking my shit here real quick, and let's grab. Let's grab some wildflower real quick. We're going to grab. That feels pretty good. And we'll do the same thing with this. So let's grab our scatter brush. Nope, this isn't working the way I want it to. We gotta do something different. Hold on. Let's grab, we gotta grab a brush. We gotta do something a little bit different because it's too same. Let's grab this. Let's grab this kelp brush. I bet this will do the trick. Yeah, I think it's gonna work. Erase that. Yeah, so we're erasing most of this brush because it's got these little tips that make these neat little buds at the top. I have this at 100% strength on the eraser, but this eraser itself has all of these empty spaces in it. So it's leaving behind this like these little shoots, these little buds, like little lily flowers. Oh, right on, Fernando. See you later, my guy. Appreciate you swinging by. There you go. So you can see that I'm using this brush, and then I'm erasing with the back end of this brush to create this added depth of like this added texture that ends up making the scene like wildflower bushes or wildflowers, period. TM, all rights reserved. I gotta be careful about bunching it up though, so I have to leave a lot of gap between them so that they stand out well. I can't crowd it. If I crowd it, it kills it. Gotta let it breathe. Go, and then tap that out. There's a little pocket in here. Here you can see the natural contours of this brush that we of this shrubbery that we have here. There, you can see where the shapes of the individual tufts from the different brush that we use, and that's informing where we're dotting these flower buds. It's helping reinforce the angles that we have, that you can just see the curvature inside the bushes. So we're angling these bud tips to be on that same curve to help to help reinforce the volume of the foliage that we've created. Let's grab this here. Here. And here, like that. And now that we're establishing these angles inside this line here, when I have one of these brushes angle like this, you can see the curvature inside that. So now we're adding volume as we're moving forward towards the camera. I really want to be over here working my way across the canvas in this direction, since this is where the mass is at. Like the most mass. Now we're probably going to drop the opacity on this once it's done, just to have it drop into the canvas a little bit more and fade away. It's got a very, it's a very very pronounced contrast now, too strong. So we're going to first fill all this in, and then we'll be able to here, I'll show you. We can drop the opacity on it, and now it has it flares, but it has like it looks right, you know. Without this layer, it's just kind of it's just a biomass, you know. It's too far back, and just the texture is too pronounced to be something unto itself. But by adding a highlight like this, it actually pushes all the information underneath it further into the canvas, and then we can work and erase at it a little bit. So hold on, we'll just finish this out here. I see these. You can see these branches poking through here, so I'm leaving gap here on purpose, so that those. I want to actually drop this in here, but otherwise, we're leaving this gap open so that you can see those little twigs hanging out inside of there. I just caught sight of those. I'm like, I don't want to swallow those up. I want to leave them out for us to see. You know what? I'm not liking how that's sitting. Let's just get rid of that. And let's reduce the size a smidge, and then drop this in here like that. That's good. And then here. And then like that. And here. Oops. Wrong angle, buddy. And then it just goes off the page, so we're just going to let it run off the page. There we go. There we go. And this should fill it out. So we can sit with it here. And then again, we'll push down the opacity. Something like that probably feels right. Still a little sharp. Yeah, I think that feels better. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Yeah, it needs a little bit of that pop. I actually think it just needs something a little bit darker underneath it. Don't want to do too light. That feels better. I think I'm good with that. Cool. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and stitch that down. And let's see, where are we at now? Oop. Let's go here. Let's add our composition back in. Let's see where more trees belong. One second. There. Now we can see. Now we can see the forest, the trees in the forest. Ah, ha, ha, ha. All right. So here's one. So let's. That's where that's at. So we want to add in here, and let's grab our round brush. Let's see what happens when we put these in. How about another tree right there? So now we have more trees to do. Always have more trees to do. This one is slightly further forward than this one. So I think I'm going to do-si-do these two. Saving real quick before something weird happens. I'm seeing a weird line here from this here that's curving down and breaking through this foliage here. I don't really like that, so I'm going to micromanage this tree real quick. There. Let's break it off. I feel like I should slide this one over like this a smidge and then take this new foreground that we're building here, take you and bring you here. Nah. Don't like it. I'm just gonna leave you as it is. Maybe sometimes I don't mess. Maybe sometimes I just don't need to mess with it. But this tree is bothering me. There. I actually did want to make sure that this foliage here isn't breaking in front of this trunk here. Raise that up just a smidge. There we go. That feels better. Okay, cool. So now we have our next tree to do. Let's just add a little bit of volume to him like that. All right. You know the drill. Let's see, where are we at? Where are we at elevation-wise? We're a little bit further forward ground. So something like around here is probably where we're going to start in with our trees again here. should probably break this out into a separate layer one while I have the opportunity. Good. Adding in just some basic scaffolding. Hey, I sees text. What's up? Hey, Matt, how you doing? It's been a while, my guy. Let's see. I'm contemplating the next move here because I'm not sure how well we're going to look by adding more mass to the central plane here. Like this is the... we can afford to do it. You can see we're starting to snake our way down the page. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's drop those from view for the moment. Let's kick this guy out of the way. And then let's get back to here. Add in another layer up in this. What's going on? Let's see. It's very. Thank you very much. It's I love. This isn't my best piece I've ever done. I really like. If you go to my Patreon, it's linked down below, and you check out the brush set. One of the commission that I did for Ukulele Bard for the Reclamant role playing game that he'd been developing. He commissioned me for a book cover of basically Yggdrasil over a landscape, and so that was a ton. That was honestly one of my favorite pieces to do, like period. I really, really loved working on that piece, and it turned out really nicely. That's 100%. Let's grab the right brush for my language here. You never know how good the composition is going to be until you build it, right? You just make the most of what you got. And let's drop that down a little bit so we can blend in a little bit more easily. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this. There's a lot of there's a lot of elements in here that I like a lot. I'm not 100% happy with all of the trees, but that we just call it biodiversity. When you don't like something in a forest, you just call it, well, it has a place, you know. Get that going down like that. We're about getting close enough in the picture to start using word I'm looking for. What the deuce? Here, hold on. Real nitpicky detail here. There. That helps. Very subtle, but it helps ground that trunk into that bush. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Hey, Tyler. I'm hoping November. September would be ideal. Actually, I'm hoping for September, but that's that November is probably more realistic. It's I wish I could better gauge how quickly these things are going to go, but when I find something like we were missing some map assets for the, I thought I was just going to be able to drop in some foliage and be done with this section, and by the time we're done with this painting, we're done with the section. But I didn't realize that I only had deciduous tree tokens for the maps. I needed pine tree conifer tokens, so I'm off screen. Here, I'll show you guys in my spare time what I'm doing when I'm not here on camera with you guys. Wait for this to open. Oh god, this is gonna make Photoshop cry with the OBS running. So give me a second. This will pop open. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. Like we have these forest maps. We have the forest floor. We have like stray rocks and hedges, and then we have the tree tokens. And the tree tokens are one layer or trunk, and then the other layer is the canopy on top of it. So when you go underneath the tree, you can lift the canopy off. It's like you lift the roofs off of a building to look inside the building. So, oh my god, this is absolutely just gonna make my computer cry. I immediately regret this decision. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, jeez, this is so slow. It's two really big files, both trying to open it. This was okay. There we go. Thank you, Jesus. We'll get rid of this thing in a minute. Come on, baby. Okay, there we go. So here's a rough, and you can see like the trunk in the middle. Then it's got a 25-foot space that this is occupying. And then here's an example of a finished bush or a finished tree. And here's another one. And here's another one. And here's another one. So you can grab these and you can lift the canopy off, and then here's the trunk, because conifer trees have a different type of branch pattern. It's very spoked and almost like snowflake-like. It's a very radial pattern, as opposed to deciduous trees are more organic with just random branches growing in different directions. But I've got about 20 some odd tokens, and I've got about half of them done. So it takes a little while to do each one of them. There's multiple layers. I'm racing to see which I'm going to get done first. These tree tokens. No, don't save. Or this painting. One of them they'll probably finish about the same time. And then once they are, I can take those pine tree tokens and then drop them into the forest maps that occupy this section of the adventure. And once I do that, that'll pretty much finish up. Other than some very small quibby details, the whole first act will be done. The second and third act is largely map, with a couple spot illustrations here or there, I think. But for the vast majority, it's just maps. And then the appendix. Appendix 1 is monsters. Appendix 2 is items and oddities. And then Appendix 3 is toolbox. It's like DM toolbox stuff. The toolbox has a lot of illustrations in it that we haven't done yet. So I suspect once we get past this block, we'll be able to, on my downtime, I'll be able to start filling in all the map spaces in part 2 and 3, and then continue using my time here in the morning with you guys to do the actual illustrations in Appendix 3, or in the appendices. Appendix 1, creature token, creatures. We already have all the tokens that we should need for the monsters. We spent 100 some odd episodes doing that like a year ago. And then Appendix 2 is items and oddities, and most of that stuff is already done as well. We've already worked on that stuff. And then Appendix 3, where we're looking at like alternate plot hooks and furthering the adventure, that's where the actual illustrations are going to take place. And those are at varying stages of completion. So I'm hoping once we get done with this section, the next 50 pages is going to flow really quickly, and we'll just spend the rest of our time in the appendix. And then of course, once that's done, we can actually publish the thing and move on to another book. God, I'm looking forward to moving on to another book. I'm gonna increase the green on this just a smidge. I'm like as I like to say, or as I've said in the past, where I'm at right now in the piece, in the project as a whole, is I'm so far down the tunnel that I can't see light on either end. I'm just basically, all I know is just keep going, and I'll eventually see the fucking light at the end of the tunnel. But I'm like that with I was like this with the Spelljammer book as well last year when I was publishing that. I got to that same place of existential dread where it's like this is going to happen. Now it's just how much, like, these are labor pains that I'm basically going through at this point. It's like, how much is this gonna hurt spitting the thing out? Yeah, so we're getting closer. This is a very choppy texture right now. I'm going to need to actively go in here and trim away at these things. We're getting too close to the foreground for me to be able to get away with lazy foliage. But hey, it's a labor of love, you know? It'll get completed, and we'll publish it, and then we'll just move on to the next thing. The next book we're going to publish is probably going to be the Bastions campaign, because the color mana system, although it is coming along nicely, that is a very slow cooking stew. That takes a while, and I'm okay with that. I am content with taking my time with that project. Of all the projects that I do, the color mana and the martial power system is like the most important thing to me. But the Bastion campaign's fucking cool, so I want to publish that book to get it out there, because I think we need better. I just think we need better Bastion mechanics in general. So I want to get it out there, and it's pretty much ready to go, except for, you know, we need all the connective tissue and stuff. But once we're clear of this project, then we can start doing book cover. And the Bastion campaign is obviously very structure based, like building structures. So that's going to be, I think, one of the things I'm really looking forward to with that book. I'm gonna actually thin this down a little bit to change the angle a little on it. Is the amount of structure work and buildings and environments that I can do for that Bastion campaign book. It's just, that's gonna be, I just think it's gonna be a lot of fucking fun to illustrate. So I'm really looking forward to getting it on my block. So we'll probably be building out Bastion campaign and color mana books at the same time. There's also Spelljammer stuff that I still want to do. The Mecha Kaiju book, as well as the subclasses. But I think the subclasses will make more sense once I get the Martial Powers book published. I think they'll be very complementary to each other. So I'm going to defer that subclass until after the power system gets published. Thanks for asking. We still got a ways to go. I see text. Hold on. I'll catch up with you. What's up? Whoa, hey, Gabby. Doing really well, thanks. So we got a good roadmap for the next few Phil incarnations. Yeah. I pretty much wear my design path on my sleeve. You know, I do all this stuff on screen with you guys. So we've got the martial powers and the color mana system in general is going to get rebuilt for 2024. We got the Bastion campaign. We've got the Spelljammer Kaiju. Mecha Kaiju book. We've got Spelljammer subclasses. We have the Vocath Battle Crab encounter for Light of Zaraxis, which we built like a year ago, but still haven't completed because it's not my priority project. It was just a side hustle thing that I was working on at the time, but that's lamenting attention. Let's see. So that's like 8 books. Because like when I talk about like the martial power system, that's the core mechanics, knights and tricksters, spell point warlocks, spell point sorcerers, spell point artificers, and the martial powers book. So that's 6 books there, and then the 2 Spelljammer books, that's 8, and then the Bastion campaign, that's 9. 9 books I have on task after we finish this adventure. So that'll probably take me till Armageddon. 2027 to be able to potentially get through. I mean, luckily most of the color mana books are they're technically written. I mean, I'm just updating from 2014 to 2024. So it's not as heavy a lift as creating like a completely original book. But I am going to completely reformat it and either replace or embellish artwork that's already in those books. They need to be glammed up. Some of them are looking pretty rock-shod. I like how this looks. Somebody's missing. There you are. I'm gonna hit save now before my whole thing freaks the fuck out. Good. What just happened? There we go. I was gonna say, what the fuck just happened? It feels pretty good. Will it be? Speaking words of wisdom. Second verse, same as the first. We just keep doing it. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back today. It's 7. Oh my god, it's only 7:12. We're doing fucking great today, guys. It's 7:12 now. I'm gonna be back at 2:30. We got like another 40 minutes this morning, so we'll get these trees done and probably start working on the next copes. But oops, let's go there. So yeah, we'll be here for another 40 minutes, and then I'm going to bow out. But we'll be back later on today at 2:30, which is 7.5, like roughly 7.5-ish hours from now. We'll be back on working on martial powers some more. We're working through revisions with the ranger. What I really I've gone over these subclasses. If it releases, will you do a Scion when it releases? If it releases, yes, I will. I'll do a spell point Scion book. I've got spell point sorcerer. I've got spell point warlocks. My spell point sorcerer is way more complicated, or like has a lot more texture and stuff going on with it, like meta magic and stuff like that, than what I want to put in the core mechanics book. I need to grab more coffee. I'm gonna be right back. So I'm gonna rant at you guys. But yeah, so the base chassis of the sorcerer with it's 8 meta magic options, and you can only use one at a time as Wizards written it. That's going to be in the core mechanics. But the huge list of meta magic powers, like the 23 powers, and all the subclass, like all the Forsaken subclasses and all that stuff, that's something that I'm going to put in a separate book. Like we'll have a very basic frame for Warlock in the core mechanics book, but then we have Point Warlocks, which is a deeper dive into Point Warlocks in general. Same thing with Artificer. We'll have the basic Artificer in the core mechanics. We'll add it to the core mechanics since it's more core now than it had been, and then we'll extract that and we'll be able to do more stuff. Like once martial, so we'll have the core mechanics book and we'll have martial powers as my two foundations, and then when we go into specific books for each class, we can start blending ideas from both martial powers and the core mechanic spell point system, and that's where the Scion sits. So it will eventually get released and we will eventually build with it. It's just a matter of sequencing things so that when I introduce a new piece, there's already a foundation for like where that came from, so you can watch mechanically design how the books are evolving into each other, which is why I want to do the subclass, like the Spelljammer subclass book. I want to do that after the Martial Powers book releases, because a lot of like the mecha pilot options that are in the Spelljammer mecha book originate from the powers that we have. Instead of being powers, they're like maneuvers that are built into the mecha. So while you're piloting, you can use these maneuvers as a pilot, regardless of what class you are. So by having that language built into the Martial Powers book in general, and then extracting those and saying these are just martial things that you can do, and when you're operating a war golem, you're basically building a, you're not a spellcaster war golem. It's a martial machine. Maybe that's what I should call it, martial machines. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Fuck. And there's also the I forgot. There's I also want to do the for Spelljammer. I want to do a book for awakened ships, because the awakened spell works on organic material like plants and stuff. So you could take like an elven star moth, and it's made of crystal and plant-like structure. So you could grow that ship and then awaken it so that the ship itself becomes an NPC. So the idea there is that like 15-foot fighter craft, you can awaken your fighter craft and then it becomes basically a sidekick. And then we can have a ship sidekick class, like the ship framed as either like a warrior expert, but it couldn't be a spellcaster because it's a ship. So, but it can attune to the helm that's attached to it, and as a creature, it can use its action economy to move and engage in combat and stuff as a ship through itself, whether there's a pilot on deck or not. So that allows your characters to have another NPC in your Spelljammer campaign that has a self-preservation for the ship, because it is the ship. So it's a fun manipulation, and it explains like the bionetic nature of the Illithid craft, all the Illithid ships that they have, like the Nautiloid and stuff. Like if it were a living ship using this awakening idea, then that explains where that thing would come from. And like the bat ship from Forgotten Realms 2nd edition, depending on the material, all it has to do is be organic material. So it could be either plant grown or potentially crystal, chitin. These are all things that we could potentially awaken and build sidekicks out of. So sidekick ships is basically the gist of what we're talking about. And that's something I'm really excited about too. But that's low hanging priority right now. I'll get to it, but it's a far cry from high importance. But I digress. Let's grab that. Reset that a bit. And erase that a bit. But a Spelljammer, like a Spelljammer expansion book, makes a lot more sense once the Bastion campaign publishes, because you can frame your ship as your Bastion and build accordingly. And if we have a robust system in place for Bastions, you can now frame your Spelljammer campaign around Bastion events that occur while you're on the ship traveling from one location to another. If you don't care about, like, if you let the DM just dictate where you're at on your trade route at any given week, you open up a lot of episodic adventure opportunities, a la Star Trek, for instance. Ooh, this one's really sparse, ain't it? Ooh-wee. Volume to this here to make it a little less sparse. I like the striation. I'm good with that. It just feels a little flimsy, so I wanted to add a little bit of bulk to it since it's so close to the center of the piece. Just make sure it stands well. There we go. What's up? I thought I saw something there. Never mind. You guys don't owe me shit. But yeah, I'm really liking where we're getting with the Ranger. Finding ways to more integrate Hunter's Mark into the subclasses, or our solution, the Mark of Prey replacement feature. I'm really liking the mix between like giving like all like the Winter Warden, the Winter Walker that we built last night, like tying Freezing Strike into the Mark of Prey, and then when you choose to use that strike specifically, giving you kicker effects to impact your the prey that you've marked. So it's using all the different mechanics of the Ranger, that a Ranger rebuild is using all those different pieces together. Kind of like how when Wizards built the Sorcerer Surge, or whatever it is that they call it, that Sorcerer Rage. They didn't build anything using the Sorcerer's Rage into the Sorcerer subclasses. It's like they added this like core mechanic at second level for Sorcerers, and then never mentioned it again in any of the subclasses. It's like that's a massive flavor miss. So we have the opportunity to go in, and when we're rebuilding these subclasses, integrate that Sorcerer Rage thing. I keep forgetting what it's called. Innate Sorcery. Thank you. Integrate the innate sorcery into the actual class subclasses that you choose, so that the innate sorcery, that rage effect, works differently with each subclass. Like, you guys introduced this idea and then kind of just like let it go. So I question, you know me. I'm always questioning what the hell is Wizards doing, because it's such a great game engine, and I so question their decisions on how to use it. But I do it out of love. It's because I love D&D so much, and I love the 5e game engine so much. There's so much potential with it. It just feels like it's wasted on D&D, or not on D&D, but on Wizards. They don't deserve the toys that they have. They did not earn them. Did not earn those toys. And I'm pretty happy with that tree as it is. That one's pretty good. Where you at? Get in there, buddy. Get in there. Thank you. I feel like something is meant. Come on, buddy. He's choking. He's choking on the layers. There it is. Thank you. Come on back. Thank you. Yeah, that's Photoshop struggles with this one a little bit. I'm really pushing the CPU. But I don't like the thickness of that tree. I need to thin you up a bit. There. There. Give you a little bit more space to breathe there, buddy. And now we got this tree. I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful about spacing. You don't want to have a consistent distance between each tree. That is a risk. We are pattern-based creatures, and if we don't watch our shit, we'll do something like that. So we always have to be careful about how close. We have to artificially pay attention to how close we're layering tree trunks together. So there's no consistent spacing, no pattern that can be falsely created. Yeah. So far so good. Let's just keep pushing. Drop, 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 drop. Wrong layer. Building in the mass. How are we looking on time? So, okay, so we still got 20, 30-ish minutes, 25 minutes maybe. We'll get this tree done. For some reason, I turned off my alarm instead of snoozing it, or instead of restarting it. I turned it off instead of restarting it. But hopefully by the time I finish all the things I want to do with 5e, 5e is still 5e and it doesn't become 6e. Here's hoping. It's a race against time. Am I going to die first? Is the world going to explode first? Or is D&D going to become 6th edition first? God's willing, this is all going to work out. Like the world can die after I finish the last book. So as long as I keep producing books, the world gets to keep going. That's a complex that I think I want to develop. That's my God complex. As long as I'm building books, the world remains alive. And if you really want to get sign of one, the whole world will die when I do with it. It just stutter locked on me. It was a mistake to open up that other file at the same time as this one. Because now it's choking. I should probably shut it down and restart it, but we're close to done for the day, so I'm just gonna push it and just complain. I'm just gonna push it and complain and not do anything about it. Here's something I don't often do. Just grab the whole mass and just drag it over. Rarely just do I do that. But I like where this is at. I like thinning this down a little bit. That feels really good for this tree. And then, yeah, we can be cheeky. Let's do something cheeky. Let's be down here. Let's start this this twig language here. Merge down. That is the start of entwigifying trees. So far, we haven't had to do any of that, but as we move further in ground, one of the like the closest tree is going to have a bunch of snapped off branches. So having other snapped off branches nearby is going to help reinforce that language up front. So we go back to here and we go to here and let's grab that green. Brush. Just dust on this highlight here. At it, keep it under control. Erase that texture a little bit, drop that in here. Now we're going to use like a 40, was that 40%? 30%. 30% opacity to erase that a little bit to create that under shadow effect. And a little bit more to the left because the sun is coming from the right. There we go, like that. Hey, look at that, quick and easy. Open this up. Open this up. Zero. Just erasing a little bit, just to, again, just to ground those trees into the shrubbery a little bit better. So far, so good. Again, this is a concern that we know. I don't want to completely destroy the visibility of everything in the background. I like that one there. I almost feel like this tree is damaging the composition. I like being able to see through this patch here, and I feel like this tree in particular is blocking access to that. I'm fine with this one because this is off to the side. I don't really give a shit about off to the side. That's fine. And even this is far enough. It's far enough offline that it's not getting rid of the depth of layers that's going on here. But this guy I am concerned about. I almost feel like he would be healthier over here somewhere. Like that. Let's look at our composition. There's going to be another tree here, which is going to make a lot of sense. That's going to fill in this gap really nicely. There's going to be a larger tree here. So here and here are the only two real trees that we're looking at right now. Not as high density foliage than what would be implied, is it? Maybe what I actually need to do then is move this further back in the piece. What happens Come on, buddy. Where you at? I know you're hiding somewhere. There you are. What happens if we take that whole tree and just push it down? Do something like that. Nope, I think I like it over there. I like it over there. Yeah. Here, let's drop this back here. Yeah, I think I like that. I need a mass over here. We need some biomass. Let's take this. Let's apply that mask. There we go. looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Looking at our composition again. Yeah, we have, there's some sort of, let's go mid left. Let's see. Back mid. Then we have mid left, and now we're going to have mid right. So let's grab some dark here, and we're just going to start filling in some more biomass. So let's grab our chisel. Brush. Let's fill this in here. Just need another layer in here to break up this shape inside here, down into this. Something's wanting me to make a rise. Unexpected hills are tight. Let's just work this into the canvas. Apparently we have a little ridge here that I did not know about, but is creating a really fun break in the plane. I really like that. And this will give us an opportunity to put in some like stonework. We've been seeing boulders and stuff wanting to show themselves in this piece, but I haven't given them the space yet to do it. So this feels like a really good environment to add that in right here. We're about to run out of time, so I'm going to have to probably leave this be. I'm going to scoot it over a little bit so it's more into the piece. I really like that. That's cool. How's it jive with the composition? It's gonna get the foreground. This major trunk here, which is really important to the piece. This huge trunk is going to eat a lot of this space here. So a lot of this ridge work we're about to do is not going to be seen, but that doesn't mean I don't do it. Let's just change scale a little bit. Yeah, but it can be done. If it can be done, you got to do it, you know? So, I really like this piece. By adding this in, I can increase the amount of foliage like in this space here. I can have it running behind this ridge like this. So I can add biomass in here. And with this tree here, we could probably find a way to drop in another couple trunks without actually having to add the overall volume of foliage. I am liking it overall. I can probably afford to add more foliage mass in here. I kind of like how that's squeezing through the sky a little bit back there, though. I do like that. Let's go back to the front. want a little bit of... That'll be fine. What I'm not taking into account is the fact that there's a frame. This is gonna look good. All right, you know what? Honestly, this seems like a pretty natural stopping point. Let's. I'm not quite there yet. Muse wants to play for another minute, so we're gonna give her a play. Let's go find some rock. Here we go. Finally, we're getting. Oh no, wait. That's in the sun. I don't want that. I want something that's in the shadow. There we go. That guy. You. Save button again real quick. Oh yeah. We're gonna just start by blocking this in. I'm gonna chisel it down a little bit. Break that up here. Just add some mass. Just drop it in. We'll mess around with the texturing and stuff on it in a little bit here. Thank you, Timely Timer. Letting me know that it's time to go. Letting me know it's time to go. 7:45. I've still got a few minutes, so let's build. It's a little bit longer. I can grab and pull up this texture here. As we do. Pick that up. Drop this in and fade it into the dark like that, and then we're going to just work this into the canvas here. Drop. Blend to win. Got some highlighty bits. Another layer. So we'll work the stone and then we'll put some moss over it. So far, I like this. I applaud this decision. Well done, Muse. She's pulling things in from the ether, making it really cool on our canvas. That and then drag it in here. Yeah, that just feels good. Here, just stones are fun. Just I like working with stone. It's super fun. I love all the little textures and details and pockmarking, the way that strict harsh light works and how blending can work with it. It's really complementary. There's a lot of different ways that you can play with the lighting on rocks. Just love it. Super fun. And I think I'm out of time. Yep, 7:52. Let's just go ahead and the Muse won't let me go. Hold on. She's got a little bit more she wants to play with inside here. She's like, just catch this second. It's like, okay, I'll catch this moment. Do that. Muses don't really have much sense of time. I mean, they kind of exist outside of it, so I don't blame them. And very intentionally just blending this in to the ground here. Let's push up the intensity on that. There. Oh, just look at that, just came to life. Just came to life, just like that. God, I love that. There. Nice. Oh god, that feels so good. Cool little ridge. And we'll just we'll drop some foliage on top of it when we come back next session. We can drop in some more greenery back in here. Not that we're defining the shape. God, that feels really fun. Put like a little bush or something up in here, some moss and shit. And then so we'll work this spot in here to add a little bit more, since it's pretty central to the piece. Adding a little bit more density in here will be good. And then we'll be able to move down. Yeah, we'll be able to move down to this segment here to start building out our base, and then add in our larger tree. Let's fold this up here. We can get in our composition. So yeah, we just need a little bit more density here. This is a big fat tree in the foreground with a lot of shrubbery spilling across the landscape here, breaking up the ground back here so that you don't see the feet of the forest. And we'll just have a lot of biomass in here, all built up with higher resolution shrubbery, and then this piece will be pretty damn close to done. I was predicting that this would be done on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, but in all reality, it's probably not going to be done until Friday. But it looks like it should be done by Friday, and that should coincide with the pine tree tokens being done by this weekend. So with any luck, by the end of this week, when we come back on Monday, we will have we'll start on the whole new section. So that'll be fun. That's it for now. I'm going to be back at 2:30, which is in 6.5 hours. We're going to continue working on the 5e24 martial powers conversion for the ranger. We're finding all sorts of really fun tidbits. So, yeah, I'll see you guys soon. If you think this shit's cool, I'm here 9 times per week, Monday through Friday in the morning like this. Mondays and now Thursday nights, as well as Tuesday and Friday lunches like today. We do game design, Discord channel. Check out my books down below if you're into 5e content for D&D. Check that stuff out. I think you'll really think it's cool. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Later.